Hello everyone, this is my second C# tutorial video, and today we're going to be covering primitive types. Now, what primitive types are stuff that deals with numbers and all that stuff, like, yeah, kind of like that. Like, we talked about one in the last video, string. That would be just a combination of characters into, like, maybe a sentence or something. So we're going to be going over them today, and that's pretty much all we're going to be doing. These are very important to know because you will be using them a lot. So let's begin. Now, basic ones are stuff like int. This would be an integer. I hope I spelled that right. If I didn't, oh well. So, integer is basically a whole number, and you use it like equals 1. So, that's they're not really, there's not really much to go into because it's just a number basically. But so int is an integer. Next we have, I guess I'll continue with numbers, so float, float, and this would be a float. This is a floating point number. It's basically like 1.1 and that. So, I don't, alright, so, and then like I said, not much to go into, so, float is basically a decimal. Now, there's also another type of decimal, a double, which is, yeah, another decimal, basically. But I believe it can hold more than a float, as floats don't hold as much as doubles, I believe. So, if you're dealing with really long decimals and stuff, I'd use a double over a float. But if you're dealing with short decimals like 3.14, float can easily handle that, and you'd probably be better off because float doesn't use as much space as a double. So, and next we have long, and this is for very large numbers. Like, I'm not sure how much it goes up to, but yeah, that'd be something you would want to use a long for. Then there's a short, which is basically a shortened version of long, I guess. I don't think it holds as much as long, but it's still bigger than an int. I'm not sure though. I don't really mess with shorts because don't really need them that much. But yeah, so it'd probably just be something like that, I guess. Next we have, let's see, any more numbers? Don't think there are any more numbers to deal with that we'll get into right now. So next I'll go with just char. Now, I shouldn't really name it that. Never use, this is just for example purposes, but never use, like, calling your variable float if it's type float. It's just bad practice and stuff. And with stuff like char, there is an upper class called char, so that'll probably confuse the whole thing off, and it's best not to do that. But char, and we'll just call this character, and this would be for, like, just regular normal just one letter characters like A, and you can put anything in there as long as it's not bigger than one character. I don't use this much because of strings. I use more strings and stuff. So that's basically all you need to know about that. And then next we have string, and as I said, don't use an uppercase S because there's a class of it, and that'll confuse the compiler. So we're gonna just call this a string. Now, if it's different from the class name, then use it like string 1 would be different, and yeah. So, and this is just, like I said before, a combination of characters. So this would all be a string. Strings are used for sentences and all that other stuff. I use strings for getting input, even if it is one letter, because I just find strings easier to deal with. And so next we have, I don't think there's anything. I guess we'll go into bytes. A byte is 8 bits. There is no bit type because that's really small, and I don't think I don't even know if there's a programming language that uses it. But let me check the time here. And wow, we're already on for about 6 minutes, so I better hurry this up. Alright, so byte is basically byte 1. That would be fine for naming it. So byte is basically a byte. I'm just gonna make this, I don't really know how to assign bytes because they're kind of confusing when you're actually trying to assign them. But the way that I use bytes, and I'll just really basically go over this. We'll go with it's saucy encoding dot saucy dot get bytes, and yeah, just go into get. I think there's get byte. No. Get byte. No, there is not a get byte. We'll just put a string. Now, I guess I'll briefly talk about arrays here. An array is basically, it's kind of like you're holding a bunch of the same type in one variable. So, like I'll give you an example of an int array 1, and this would equal to, when you're getting an array and you're assigning it right there without using something like the saucy encoding stuff, you use curly braces, and then you'd be like 1, 2, 3, and then you end it with a semicolon after the closing curly brace. This goes along with chars, but char arrays aren't very useful, really. So char array would equal to
Austin, what are you doing?
A, B, C, that kind of stuff. Strings are just basically char arrays, so I don't use char arrays. And we're coming up on the time limit here soon. Yeah, so this is kind of more stuff you won't be using for a while in this tutorial, but I'll explain arrays more again then stuff. I'll go into what the saucy encoding, this stuff right here. I'll go into more into what that is. Yes, disregard background noise and stuff. And let's see what else. I don't know. I'm sure there's probably 1 or 2 primitive types I'm missing, but I don't think they're really important since I don't use them that much. So, and then if you want to print out console dot write line, you can use this for, I believe, all these types. So yeah, int, float, double, long, short, char, string, byte, int, char again. Yeah, you can just use that. So integer, we'll just put that there and quickly run this. Oh, build errors, no. Yeah, I wasn't sure about this. If you're using a float, you have to put an F at the end of it to say that it is a float, or else I think it considers it a double. Yeah, here we go. I wasn't sure about that, so. And then, like, don't worry about this. This will just say that it's not ever used and stuff. So, as you can see, it printed out 1. Say anything, indicate to continue. And sorry about my fan. But that's it for this tutorial. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and goodbye.